warm welcome to all our panelists. Thank you so much for joining us here this afternoon. And if I could hop to that chair so that I could actually welcome. Grow Right Initiative. And here we are in the midst of mommy bloggers and friends from media who have a lot of questions for sure. That'll be answered a little later. But there are a few questions that I would like to ask, before we open the floor for the Q&A. And, as they say, that childhood is a period of rapid growth and development. And Dr. Sanklecha, I would like to start with you first. That there are so many different phases that we've been taught and told that this is the important phase of life, this is the important phase of life, teenager, yeah, adult hote hain. But they say that toddler, especially the 2 to 6 phase of life, is the foundation of a child's growth.
I think every phase of life has its own issues and own critical areas. When it comes to the toddler between 2 and 6, I think it's an opportunity that's a once in a lifetime opportunity. Either you do it right or it's lost for a lifetime. So whether it comes in terms of nutrition, it comes in terms of behavioral handling, it comes in terms of growth. So there is what is called a critical period of growth. And this growth does not apply just to the physical growth in terms of height, in terms of weight. It also applies to the overall development of the child, be it in terms of his intelligence, be it in terms of his overall grounding as a person. So either you do it right at that time or the opportunity is lost for a lifetime, and hence it's called a critical period.
There's a WhatsApp University of Knowledge.
Yeah, true. That keeps sending forwards about, charts about what to eat, what not to eat, and we have no clue. So gets us a little clueless.
I plead guilty to that.
So Lara, my question to you is, with so much information coming in as a parent, how do we actually confirm that it's coming from a credible source?
No, exactly. So, I was saying this to the doctors backstage. I think one of the key reasons for me to say yes to events like this is because as a mother, I know how difficult it is to get an appointment with the doctors, be it a nutritionist or a pediatrician. So here I get all my questions answered. I have the best of the experts on the panel. It takes care of all my questions, with everything that I need seen to. But you're right, Sachin, because as a mom, the first thing, I think the day that you find out that you're actually pregnant and are going to become a mother, the first thing that you do is you turn to your best friend, which unfortunately today has become Google. And everything is looked at. The child is running a fever, my kid isn't eating her beans, what should I do? Everybody turns, because at the end of the day, there is such an information overload today. The fantastic thing is that there is so much information out there. But it's such an overload that it is very difficult to understand what really comes from a credible source, so it doesn't. And I think for me, over the years with my daughter, I've learned, so between this panel, as you can see, I feel like I've grown in stature today because I'm being part of this initiative and being part of the guild. But these are the experts in the field, and I'm the lab rat, right? Because I'm the mother who actually puts all of this into play. But nothing vouches better than experience. So as a mom raising a kid, raising exactly, a child between the ages that we're talking about, I've been through the gamut of everything that you could possibly go through. And finding, one source to go to. So I think it's fantastic to actually have an initiative like this, the Abbott's Grow Right initiative, and having the charter and the guild come together. And like the doctors are saying, having a one-stop shop to go to that gives you very clear guidelines of dealing with children during this age group. And it's an invaluable source, which I am pretty sure that mothers today in India will find, will be so, just to have points that, okay, this is what I need to do, this is where I need to go. That said and done, every child is different, so you might have guidelines that come down, but how do you implement that with each child? Because each child relationship is absolutely different. But I think if you have, and I think today what moms will gather is, what are those guidelines? How are they implemented? How are they adapted? And so I'm all ears. I'm very happy to be part of this and provide as much practical, experience as I can. So I'll tell you, Sajjan, I remember when Saira was born, when she was about 3 months old, she was able to, a 3-month-old child, she was able to unlock an iPad, and when all the apps came up on screen, she knew exactly at 3 months old which app to go to that was hers. So she never opened my calendar or my, anything else, but she would open out the, nursery rhymes or whatever was put on board with her. At 3 months old, and so obviously a parent feels very proud when they're saying, oh, my 3-month-old can unlock the iPad.
Yeah.
These children today, they're born with these digital gadgets in their hands and things like that. First and foremost, how did she get an iPad in her hand at 3 months old? She didn't walk over and pick it up. So here, again, guilty as charged. Why? Because at the end of the day, it's so much part of our lives that our phones, our iPads, everything are lying right next to us, right with us. So you're on a call, बच्चा थोड़ा सा तंग कर रहा है, हाँ ठीक है बेटा ये लो. You know what I'm saying? So that iPad goes into the hand, keep yourself busy, do whatever. So obviously at that point of time, it is like, oh my God, look how amazing, she knows how to unlock
cool
it
is
and
my
things
kid?
like that, But again, going back to what Dr. Sameer and Dr. Mukesh was saying, between that age, that crucial age of 0 to 2, how much time do you allow a child to be exposed to a screen and what kind of screen time? It becomes very easy, like Doc said, when the child is eating, that my kid won't eat unless she's occupied or he's occupied, watching something. Ha, theek hai, let it, she's very small now, Once she gets a little older and can understand, I'll start taking it away from her. That doesn't happen. There's no way that you can tell a 2-year-old child then, sorry beta, you've been watching iPad or television every day during meal time to get you to eat your food. Now it's not allowed. Because then you're going to have to deal with the kind of problems that Dr. Dharani is talking about, which is a child who is a fussy eater, doesn't want to eat, will refuse to eat unless they are occupied. So as a parent, it becomes your prerogative, it's your responsibility. That responsibility starts from day one. It doesn't start when the child gets to 2, when the child is going to be able to understand better. It doesn't happen. We all know, all of us who have kids now know that our kids are smarter than us. They're just born that way. It's now doctrined into their DNA. So it has to happen right from day one. And with Saira, I was here previously at a Pediasure event for Abbott, and we were talking about screen time. So till now, Saira is now 7 years old. She has on a regular day, I'm not talking about her summer holidays, where yes, that time is increased by a little bit. But otherwise, on a daily basis, she has a half-an-hour window. She can use it to watch any kind of screen, whatever it is, whether it's her iPad or a television, all of it amounts to half an hour. None of it is through meal times. And this is something that I learned through the years as a parent to limit that. I put the responsibility into her hands. So at 7, if I want my daughter to get off her iPad and I know that she's had enough and the time is approaching, I ask her, how much longer do you think you want to be on it? And I can promise you 99% of the time, the answer back is, Mama, another 5 minutes. Because for her at 7, 5 minutes is a lot of time. I'm getting 5 minutes to watch my iPad. That's fine. Take your 5 minutes. When it's over, you will switch it off yourself. And that works. It may have become 35 minutes of screen time, but she's taken responsibility into her own hands, and that really, really works. And it's translated into different areas as well with her. So I find for me as a parent, like I said, different children, but that kind of really works is to give them that responsibility at a young age, let them make that decision for themselves. Obviously the day the answer comes back to me, 1 hour more, mama, then obviously my entire approach to it will be very different.
Then she's हम जो खाएंगे वही बच्चा खाएगा.
Also depends on for how long has the problem been and how severe it is. So I think each child is different. If it's a mild issue, which has been a recent onset thing, you can rectify it pretty quickly. Whereas if it's been going on for years, if he's been eating chips for lunch and burger for dinner for 5 years, you're not going to get solve it in 5 days. So it depends on how severe the issue is and for how long it has gone on.
Doc, you know, if I can just say, so I am the youngest of 3 girls. मैं तीनों बहनों में से सबसे छोटी हूँ. और हमारे घर में ये रिवाज था कि मेरी बड़ी बहन बहुत ही अच्छी कुक है. मेरी मिडिल सिस्टर काफ़ी ढंग से मतलब पका सकती है. मैं अंडा नहीं उबाल सकती हूँ, ठीक है? क्योंकि मेरे घर में जैसे मैं किचन के दरवाजे पे आ जाती थी तो मेरी मम्मी कहती थी कि व्हाट आर यू डूइंग हियर, गेट आउट ऑफ द किचन. तो आई नेवर हैड एन अपॉर्चुनिटी, आई वाज नेवर गिवन द अपॉर्चुनिटी. तो एंड आई नेवर फेल्ट द नीड. आई लेफ्ट home at 16, moved to Mumbai, and then survived on, you know, love and fresh air and everything else that was available at that time. So when I had Saira, obviously I had Saira at a time where I understood, I had been through the whole gamut of eating right and everything. So there was, you know, inculcated already a decent nutritious diet that was being followed. But our children are not only impacted by what happens at home, they're also impacted very much so as soon as they start school with what happens at school, what happens in friends' homes, ये सब सारी चीज़ें. तो ऐसे बहुत सारे प्ले डेट्स मैंने ऑर्गेनाइज किए हैं अपनी बेटी के लिए, जहाँ पे मदर्स मुझे व्हाट्सएप मैसेजेस भेजते हैं कि यू नो माई डॉटर इज़ अलर्जिक. ये तो पहली चीज़ है. हाफ द किड्स आर अलर्जिक टू द होल गैमेट ऑफ एवरीथिंग. दे कांट ईट सोय, दे कांट ईट बीन्स, दे कांट ईट नट्स, दे कांट ईट मिल्क, दे कांट ईट फ्रूट्स, दे कांट ईट, यू नो, ये सब चीज़ें. दूसरी चीज़ है कि यू नो शी विल ओनली ईट, तो व्हाट कैन आई मेक दाल सब्जी रोटी ये सब चलेगा? नहीं, शी विल ओनली ईट समथिंग वाइट मतलब तो ओनली पास्ता और ओनली राइस, यानी कि नो वेजिटेबल्स, नो दाल, नो ग्रेवी, नो नथिंग. ओके, अभी ये आपका बच्चा है तो आई एम नॉट गोइंग टू स्कूल योर चाइल्ड व्हेन शी कम्स टू माई हाउस, सो आई विल फॉलो द गाइडलाइंस यू आर सेटिंग फॉर मी. लेकिन विद सायरा व्हाट आई फाउंड इज, एक तो आई हैव टू बी ऑनेस्ट एंड से यस, फ्यू थिंग्स दैट शी डिड ट्रबल मी विद, not a lot, but what I found is I discovered cooking with my daughter because of my daughter. So if I wanted Saira to eat bhindi, I brought her into the kitchen, we washed the bhindi, we cut the bhindi, we cooked the bhindi together. And in the time that it took her to understand what goes into the preparation of a meal before it gets to the table, made her appreciate that food a lot more. And so she was willing at least to eat what she herself had cooked. कि वो कह नहीं सकती थी कि नहीं मैं नहीं खाऊंगी, अभी तुमने बनाया है बेटा तो खा लो, यू नो, तुम्हारा हाथ का खाना है. So that really helped. And for me as a mom, I learned with her. So I actually learned a love of cooking along with my child. So it's amazing what all your kids can teach you. I hope at some point of time we're going to advance from bhindi and loki and get somewhere a little bit higher on the food chain.
Hi. We have 2 kids, and I really tried the baking stuff, and it really works. I'm going to go back and make bhindi today with my kids with the hope that she'll, pick up. So my question to you is, as a mother, I'm always paranoid. I don't know where to stop. Like, what is really right nutrition and where should I stop? Because after bhindi is going to be jowar ka roti and oats and stuff. So what is it that you follow? And where do you think that my child, Shaira, has been fed well and she's getting the right nutrition? And my second question to you, doctor,
Mike, a little closer.
My second question to you, doctor, is how can Pediasure help with low immunity? Because my children fall sick so often, despite me thinking that they're eating healthy. So these are the 2 questions I'd like to know.
You know, so I think Dr. Sameer said something a little while ago, and that's so true, that none of our children are going to die of hunger. This is for sure. And today I find that you have fewer and fewer kids who come to you asking for food, saying, Mama, I'm hungry, can I have something to eat? Invariably, it's the mother asking, Beta, kuch khaoge? I'm not hungry, Mama. Nahi, but you eat this because it's time now. So we're so dictated to, forget about our kids, even for us, we're so dictated to what has been, sort of inundated into us. Breakfast time, eat your breakfast. Lunch time, eat your lunch. Dinner time, eat your dinner. Regardless of whether you feel full, the body has digested your food or not. And I think, honestly, I have learned maybe from looking at what my parents inculcated, which again goes back to one of the points on the charter, about, the right impact, how you impact the life of your child, how your choices, your behavior impacts the choices that your child makes. So for them, my mom and dad were very clear, exactly that. If you're not going to eat at the time that this is given to you, you can eat 2 hours later, but the same food will be given to you. You're not going to get anything else. So I think for us to find, today the problem is that it's become very easy. Accessibility to foods has become very easy, even for us as parents. Therefore, we're not so worried. Acha beta ye nahi khayega, chalo I'll try 3 other things and see, that they will eat something or the, as long as there's food going into them, as long as the child is not hungry, So this for us has become like a kind of a brainwashing ki bachcha ko bhuka mat raho, the stomach is full, it means it's a healthy child. Today, to be very honest, my serving of food to Saira, what goes on her plate is really, again, built from a point of view, not just nutrition, but also building up immunity. Living in a city like Mumbai, you find the kids, falling sick more often, being exposed to a lot more, viral infections, things like that. So again, finding foods that build immunity. And I find sometimes that it's impossible to get that all through just the food on the plate of the child, though it's very possible. But again, we're living in a world where the food itself is, today not the same quality, does not have the same, that same plate does not have the same nutritional value as it did when our parents were eating it. Today with whatever chemicals are being put into the food to grow, to your vegetables, all of that, that nutritional value, I don't even believe is half the amount of what our parents got eating that exact same thali. So sometimes you do need to supplement it, whether it is with a vitamin, whether it is with, natural therapy, whatever you choose that works for you and your child. But I find that when mothers stress themselves out because we've been given ideal to live up to कि Mrs. Patel की बेटी क्लास में first आती है, वो घर पे ये खाती है, ये whatever. So we feel that we've got to live up and match up to the Joneses and make sure that our children. But when that's exactly what we're saying, Grow Right initiative. Each child is different, and stop stressing. I mean, I've heard this so many times. Bachcha paida hua hai, first visit to the pediatrician, come back so proud. Oh, doctor says she's in the top, percentile of height and weight and, whatever. What? Why would you do that to yourselves? But the fact of the matter is that we all do it like robots, like machines. So it takes working against the grain. It takes tuning into your child. It takes tuning into yourself as a parent. Find what works for you. I mean, I had no choice. My husband was a professional player. I had to take my daughter and get her on tour when she was 2 months old. If I had to follow things by all the different books that are written, I would have driven myself absolutely stark raving mad. I had to find what worked for my child and what worked for me and what was simplest to follow. And simplest to follow, but that doesn't mean that it was easy then to throw her a burger and a pizza for every meal, but just to keep that flexibility and to give your child, honestly, give your child responsibility. You will be amazed at the results that it produces.
And do join us for some sumptuous meal, which has got some great nutrients as well. Thank you. If you have any one-on-one questions, definitely our dignitaries are available at the back, so you could proceed to the backstage.